Why the Phoenix Suns will not win the NBA championship in this upcoming season. Today I'm here to break down why the Phoenix Suns will not win the championship in this upcoming NBA season, because I see a lot of people having them win the West, and I'm here to debate that and say they're not going to even get close to winning the West in my opinion. But before we get into it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, it really helps with the channel, and let me know who your favorite Phoenix Sun player is all time. Let's get into it. Before I break it down, I just want everybody to know that this 3 all-star thing that the Suns are trying to do, having these 3 star players, doesn't work anymore in the NBA. We saw with the Brooklyn Nets after that didn't work anymore, and just these big 3 style basketball doesn't work in the NBA no more. We're seeing it doesn't work. The last championships have been from homegrown teams. You can't just trade for all-stars, trade your whole future for all-stars and think everything is gonna be good and you're just gonna go win a championship. I just want to say that first. Now I'm gonna break down some stuff. Of course, as we all should know, the Suns pretty much gave up a king's ransom for Kevin Durant last season at the trade deadline, which some people said it was a good move, some people said it was a bad move, some people said they were building a super team, which they kind of were. At that point they had Chris Paul, KD, Booker, and they went nowhere really with it. They went to the second round and got eliminated by the future champions Denver Nuggets in 6 games, which is kind of, you know, it's just how it is. You got eliminated by the future champions, and that series kind of proved some things. KD and Booker are clearly ballers. They can drop 30 points, in between 30 and 50 points. They're clearly ballers, but it showed that Chris Paul is honestly kind of a liability at this point in his career, because he was pretty much hurt the whole playoff series, and he's always been hurt in the playoffs, so he pretty much showed that he is a liability on the Suns team. We'll get a little bit into Chris Paul later. We got to talk about some L's first. Their head coach at the time, Monty Williams, also got fired after this playoff series, which was a kind of interesting move, but I also kind of get it because he blew a 2-0 lead in the finals. They blew a lead to the Mavericks and got blown out in Game 7, and they really didn't do anything versus the Denver Nuggets. And he just had a bad track record of getting blown out in elimination games. Game 7 versus Dallas, of course, we all know, and then this year versus Denver. After firing Monty, the offseason comes along and they bring in a new head coach, Frank Vogel, which originally was the LA Lakers head coach. But I'm gonna give Vogel a pass, because if you saw that roster that Vogel had to coach, it was horrid, and LeBron and AD were in and out the lineup. It just wasn't good, and that's the year, of course, the Lakers missed the playoffs and all that crap happened. So honestly, I'm okay with this hiring in Frank Vogel. But then the Suns do something interesting, and the stuff I was talking about with the super teams earlier, this is really starts to come in. They do a blockbuster trade for Bradley Beal. The Suns end up receiving Bradley Beal, Isaiah Todd, and Jordan Goodwin, and the Wizards end up receiving Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, a whole bunch of second-round picks, and some first-round pick swaps, which is a huge trade. In my opinion, like I said earlier, I don't like building these super teams and stuff, so I personally don't care for the trade, but the Suns kind of did fleece the Wizards in a way, because I feel like you could get way more for a player like Bradley Beal. The rumors that were coming out, I feel like maybe you could have got way more, but of course with the no trade clause, the Wizards really didn't have a choice. So like I was talking about Chris Paul earlier, this is the end of the Chris Paul era in Phoenix. He is now a member of the Golden State Warriors with another trade that happened. But back to Bradley Beal. So this is another one of my reasons why I don't think the Suns will win the championship, besides the super team thing. Bradley Beal, I do not like Bradley Beal on this Phoenix team at all. Bradley Beal isn't that guy anymore. I'm sorry, but he's just not, and the facts just prove it. He's not that guy that almost led the league in scoring when he had Russ and all that back in Washington. They were the 8th seed. He's not that guy anymore. Last year, Bradley averaged 23 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists on 50% field goal shooting, and his 3-point percentage is at 36%. His 3-throw percentage is at 84%. It's just not the same Bradley Beal that he used to be. Also, this is my huge and biggest concern for Bradley Beal. Last year, he only played 50 games. His injury history is starting to rack up, and it's not starting to look good. In my opinion, if this keeps happening, and he's just going to keep older and more injuries are just going to keep racking up, this is going to be one of the death of this Suns team going into next year. Injuries are going to kill them, especially with Bradley Beal. I definitely don't think Bradley Beal is going to be able to play 70 games next year. He just constantly keeps getting hurt over and over again. That is my one thing with Bradley Beal that's just so bad, and his numbers are just down. He's not going in the right direction. I don't think that the Suns trading for him was a super smart idea. Like, Bradley Beal currently is 30 years old. He's starting to get up there in age. That's not looking good for the Phoenix Suns. My personal opinion, I think Bradley Beal is going to be one of the downfall of the Suns team. That's just my take on it. The Suns did make some moves in free agency, but none of them really moved me. Yuto Awanta, I probably said his name so wrong. I apologize. They also signed another guy that I really can't pronounce his name, and I'm not going to try to because I'm going to say it so wrong. They also got Damian Lee, this guy named Bates. Some of these names are hard for me to say. I apologize. I'm bad with names, and I'm not trying to get flamed in the comments like my Thunder video, but I'll just have the name of them. I'll just have the list of the names right here so y'all can see who I'm talking about. They signed some of these guys. Some of these guys are nice, like that Yuta guy, I think that's how you say his name, is actually one of these nice players. Honestly, he's a nice role player to have, but all these other guys, honestly, they don't really move me. I guess there's some quality players with KD Booker, Beal, and that Ayton contract when they have to pay all these players, so they have to give players some low contracts, some role players, so I guess these are okay, but honestly, this Suns team don't got that much depth. I know like these signings add some stuff, but in my opinion, it really doesn't move me that much to say, oh, these are championship contender moves, championship contender role players. Like honestly, some of these guys call me a casual, even though I'm not, because I've been watching the NBA for a while now. I haven't heard of any of these names besides the Damian Lee and the Yuta guy. Only two names I've heard. Them other guys, haven't heard from them at all my whole time watching the NBA. I honestly just don't see these guys making that big of a difference on this Suns team, and honestly, I think depth is going to be a problem on this Phoenix Suns team. That one guy, though, that I was talking about, that was from the Nets, that Yuta guy, I think that's how you say his name. I apologize if I said it wrong again. He's a nice guy, though. That man can shoot. Like, as you see in these clips in the background, that man can shoot. I want to touch on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's health real quick. Kevin Durant has been missing a whole bunch of games with some MCL sprains and some ankle injuries. That's a huge no-no for the Phoenix Suns. They need Kevin Durant on the court. He's one of the best players in the NBA, and the Phoenix Suns for sure cannot win a championship if Kevin Durant is out, even though I don't think they're going to win the championship. That's why I'm making this video. But especially if these injuries keep racking up, that's going to be a huge problem for the Suns. Devin Booker last year missed a whole bunch of games with a hamstring injury. I don't think it's going to be that concerning that he's going to start racking up an injury history, but that is definitely possible for him. But honestly, I think Booker's going to be fine, but Kevin Durant at this age definitely is a concern to watch out for him keep getting injured, because if he does keep getting hurt, that is going to be a huge concern for the Suns, and they do not need that to happen. Another problem with this Phoenix team is DeAndre Ayton. He's not that good of a player. I'm sorry. He's kind of soft. I'm not going to lie. As we saw last year in that second round versus Denver, he's just not it. Honestly, they should have just let him go to Indiana. Even Monty Williams came out and said he doesn't want to coach him. And honestly, I really don't blame him. He's really not that good of a center for them. Like, I know he averages 18 and 10, but if you look at his game log versus the Nuggets, when it comes to the playoffs, DeAndre Ayton, he's just not that good. And they honestly should have just let him go to the Pacers and let him get that bag in Indiana. I don't know why they wanted to match the contract, and now they're paying this guy a crap ton of money, and he's not even that good of a center in the NBA in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, those are some decent center numbers, but like, come on now, that's a lot of money that they're paying him. I'm personally just not a huge fan of DeAndre Ayton, and I think they should have just let him go. And I think honestly, he's not really that good of a center, and it's going to be one of the things that if he doesn't play well is going to be a downfall of this Phoenix Suns team. And the last thing I want to talk about is competition in the West. The West is stacked. Honestly, Denver is going to be huge competitors with the Phoenix Suns. The Clippers, if healthy, are going to be huge competitors. Even the Sacramento Kings are going to be huge competitors. The Los Angeles Lakers just re-signed everyone, so they pretty much got the same squad as last year, and that squad made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. That squad's probably going to be something. There's just a lot of competition for the Suns in the West, and I'm not sure if this team is especially injured come playoff time, is this team going to be able to compete on these other teams' levels? Because honestly, if they're not healthy, honestly, I think all these other teams that I just mentioned could beat them. Memphis potentially might have competition level to beat them. It's going to be real interesting, but honestly, if this team's not healthy, definitely I can see any of these teams beating them. And honestly, I think injuries are very, very possible for the Phoenix Suns team, like I broke it down earlier. But honestly, even a little bit healthy, I do think some of these teams could beat them. Like, I think maybe the Lakers could, maybe the Nuggets could run it back easily this year and win the West again. It's going to be interesting, but the competition level for the Suns, in my opinion, is very, very high this year, and it's very, very high in the Western Conference. In conclusion, guys, I'm going to break it down for you. This big three style of basketball, it doesn't work anymore. Like I broke it down earlier, it just doesn't work having these three all-stars and trading all your draft picks. It doesn't equate to a championship in the NBA anymore. Bradley Beal is going to be injured this year, it seems like, because he keeps missing games, and he's just not that good of a fit on this Phoenix Suns team, in my opinion. When I broke it down, it's just not a good fit, in my opinion, and I don't think Bradley Beal was that player that he used to be. Depth might be a problem for the Suns team. Like I said, I know they signed a whole bunch of people. They got a couple good guys, and I'm like, all right, those are some good signings, but the rest are kind of questionable. Depth could potentially be a problem, and they're going to need depth, especially in a Western Conference like this. And speaking of a Western Conference like this, the competition level is super high for the Phoenix Suns in this Western Conference, and could be very concerning with teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers if healthy, and the Sacramento Kings. So in my opinion, that's why the Phoenix Suns will not win the NBA championship this year or win the NBA championship with this squad. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Like I said at the beginning, let me know who your favorite Phoenix Sun player is all time, and watch these two videos right here. They're really great work by me. Everyone, have a nice day.